Digital acceleration is here. Health systems are walking the path, but are they in the right direction? Welcome to Patient Journey Pioneers, roadmaps from the top digital leaders in healthcare, who share insights and strategies that are pushing the patient journey to new heights. This podcast is brought to you by Hyro, and I'm your host, Liat Kozuch. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Patient Journey Pioneers. Today will be pioneered by Bobby Guelich, co-founder and CEO at Elion, a digital health marketplace that helps healthcare orgs find, evaluate, and select software and services. Bobby, welcome. Let us know where you're joining us from.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. I am in Connecticut, about an hour outside New York City.
Okay, so we're East Coasters. Cool. Okay, so first of all, for those who don't know you, although you're a very known kind of thought leader in the industry, tell us about yourself, how you got to where you are today, and what Elion is all about. I also want to know why you named your organization Elion.
Sure. All right. Yeah. So how did we get to Elion? My background, early career, not that relevant. I worked for a company called Bridgewater Associates, a hedge fund up here in Connecticut for about 5 years out of school, and then stumbled into healthcare actually about 11 years ago. I joined Oscar Health. I'm sure a company many of your listeners will know. In the really early days there, I was actually an intern between my first and second year of business school when the company was about 15 people or so, and loved it. Really exciting company, really exciting time with the Affordable Care Act launching. So I actually dropped out of business school and stayed on there for about 4 years. Really fun, crazy time building that company through multiple near-death experiences with Supreme Court decisions with the Affordable Care Act. So lots of fun helping to scale that company. And then was at another early stage healthcare company, used to be called TrialSpark, now called Formation Bio. It's in the life sciences, essentially trying to build a next generation pharma company, ultimately by making clinical trials faster and more efficient, less expensive. And so led operations there for a number of years. And then started Elion, essentially coming out of those experiences. Short version is I had to make a lot of vendor decisions and continually found the process to be really painful and far more challenging than it seemed like it needed to be across most of the steps of the process, from questions like, am I looking at all the solutions I should be looking at? Or are there ones that I'm missing that could really address the problem I'm trying to solve? To, in some cases, what does this company even do? What does this product do? I go to their website and it's really non-specific. I have to sit through multiple sales calls just to get a clear answer on what they do and where they fit into the workflow. And then, try to get, reliable intel on, do they deliver the promised ROI? Do people have a good experience with them, et cetera? So it always just seemed crazy to me that this was so hard, particularly given how vendor-driven healthcare is. Your average hospital works with over 1,300 vendors, which is a crazy number. It felt like there needed to be a place to go that you could really understand the landscape, how it's structured, what the categories are, who the different vendors are, what they do, and what people think about them. And so that's really what we've been trying to build with Elion. Is essentially we call ourselves an intelligence platform for healthcare technology. You can kind of loosely think of us as a marketplace for healthcare technology. But really, we want to just be the go-to place where people understand the landscape. And so, that's what we are today. Alongside the marketplace, we produce a whole bunch of research. We produce a weekly newsletter, and it's all geared around how can we help educate people on just the healthcare IT landscape broadly. And then if you ask, where does Elion come from? It's named after Gertrude Elion. She's a Nobel-winning physician and scientist. She really pioneered rational drug design. We thought she was just an incredibly impressive woman, would be an awesome namesake for the company.
Okay, I have 10 questions that stem out of what you were just sharing, such as, because I'm part of your newsletter and I think it's so well written. Who's your main target audience? Who are the people who are tapping into the knowledge you have to share?
Yeah, we really support multiple sides of the market. Ultimately, we want to make it easier for people who are sitting in the seat of having to make a healthcare technology decision. We want to make their life easier. If you're in healthcare, whether you're on the buyer side of the market versus the vendor side of the market versus even, folks who are investors, consultants, people who are just trying to understand what's going on, we want to add value to all of them. We want to be that go-to place for any market participant to understand the landscape. Ultimately, we want to help the buyers make better decisions, and we want to help vendors convey, the information about their businesses as effectively as possible.
Interesting, because most people tuning in here would be CIOs, chief digital transformation officers, and now there's a whole head of AI at health systems. So I'm wondering if you see this as a pain point. You said that an average health system uses around 1,500 different vendors and partners. I've been hearing a lot about silos. If they had a magic wand, the CIO would ask for like one platform that knows it all, is integrated with their. So do you see that as a pain point? Is that something good for business for you? The fact that there are so many, what are you seeing from the macro level?
I think what you're hearing is similar to what we hear as well. People are sick of point solutions and want to rationalize and simplify their technology portfolio. At the same time, the landscape is shifting so quickly right now that it's difficult to keep up with. And I think it's unrealistic to expect that any one solution can do everything and certainly not do everything excellently. We think there's a clear need for what we're building and even helps with people who are looking to rationalize as well. I mean, we talked to a lot of health systems, we've been talking to some recently. Honestly, there's even confusion that they have multiple solutions that do the same thing and they don't even know it within the organization. So even if we can help people streamline their portfolio, that's a good thing too.
I was going to ask if you have any juicy stories of what you've been hearing from CIOs or those decision makers. What is the biggest trend at the moment? What are they looking into? What are their biggest challenges that you kind of found that sweet spot that you've been advising others to tackle? Is there anything that comes to mind specifically?
Yeah, I don't know if that's anything that you probably haven't heard yourself, but we spend a lot of our time, kind of in the AI side of things. We focus a lot on cutting edge solutions, and we see a lot of confusion and challenge navigating that landscape. I think you've seen a lot of traction with things like AI scribes. I think you're seeing a lot now around revenue cycle solutions driven by AI. You guys live kind of in the conversational chat and intelligence side of things. There's a lot going on there. And I think where things are starting to move is further into the clinical workflow side of things. That obviously gets much more challenging and much trickier. So really helping people navigate these different types of decisions is something we want to help with. We think there's a lot of need for out there.
And what is another word of advice you would give to a CIO who is getting started on that AI journey? What are you seeing as like that, if you have it up your sleeve, the 1, 2, 3 kind of playbook of where to start? What is your usual go-to advice?
I wish it was going to be something crazy insightful. I think the first thing is, I'll always start with the problem. Like, what is the pain point you're really trying to address here? There's no reason to use AI just to use AI. It starts with, what are you really trying to address? Is this, is it burden on your clinicians? In which case, let's talk about AI scribes and some of the capabilities there. You're having challenges with managing all the denials that are coming through and you're overwhelmed and you're not sure which to prioritize and how to follow up on them faster. Okay, we can talk about some of the revenue cycle solutions to address that, or even some of the upstream solutions to prevent those denials in the first place. Versus, is it quality related? Like, is there really things to help people from a clinical perspective, or even in some cases just basic reporting? So I think it really starts with, what are the key priorities, and then let's narrow into what's the right set of solutions that you should be considering. Do you understand what you need and how to evaluate those solutions? Because I think that's where we often find that we help folks quite a bit. It's a different type of solution. You should be thinking about different things. You need a different evaluation framework, making sure that people are well equipped for that.
It's interesting. I'm hearing that you're hearing a lot about clinical. What about the patient side of things? What's your take on that? I know it's a vague question, but
I can talk to it. I ran call centers and contact centers for a while in my previous life at Oscar. So I have a lot of appreciation for in our case, it was more member facing than I'll call it patient facing, but I have a lot of appreciation for the challenges there. I think it is a major use case in an area where people are looking for a lot of help and support. I think with more administrative related use cases, you've seen a ton of progress there, over the last year or two. I think it's really exciting what's happening with some of the voice related technology as well. We definitely see a lot of innovation and interest there. I'm really excited about how you can augment them, because I think there's still going to be a need to speak to a human to help address whatever your solution is. For health systems and health plans, there's a huge amount of knowledge that these frontline workers need to have to do their jobs. And so having solutions that can help make their jobs easier is really exciting. Some of the intelligence solutions that sit on top of what these folks are doing give the folks who are leading these organizations a better sense of what's actually happening. That's such part of what we used to have to do, right? Listen to all these calls ourselves to make sure that the quality was really high. I get really excited about some of the tools that help make sure that that is going well at scale and being able to do that in a much more efficient way.
I agree with that. And if I could toot Hyro's horn, I'm pretty biased, but we do believe in keeping the human in the loop no matter what. We help automate admin tasks and repetitive tasks, but we know exactly when to escalate situations to a live agent, and that's what keeps the patient, there and patient and happy and satisfied. And so I don't believe AI will be replacing, but rather just enhancing and taking that burden off the repetitive tasks that don't need Nancy at the front desk to deal with. So I hope that's everyone's take, because I don't believe in taking the human out of the loop, especially
Totally.
in healthcare when you're so vulnerable and it sometimes is a matter of life or death. What are your thoughts on everything that has to do with AI automation and healthcare? Are you bullish on that? Do you believe in it? Are you more hesitant about it? What's your take?
Yeah, broadly speaking, we're very bullish on it. You're already seeing it have a pretty massive impact, and I think we're just in the first inning of this. So, I mean, I think I'll call it cautiously optimistic or cautiously bullish. There are real harms and real dangers from moving too quickly and rolling out some of these solutions aren't fully tested, and especially I think for good reason in healthcare where there's such a high bar from the potential for harm for patients from a regulatory perspective, from a data privacy perspective. There's such a high bar for solutions, and I think there should be. But broadly speaking, I get excited about it because I think there's so much potential for good to make clinicians' lives better, to make patients' lives better, to expand access. There's so many people who struggle to get access to care right now, and there's such a shortage of clinicians that I think some of these solutions can help open that up. You can help raise the bar of care because you can ensure that the highest level of guideline and evidence-driven care is being practiced everywhere, right? There's so much that I think these solutions can potentially bring. I get really excited, but it has to be tempered a little by making sure we don't move too quickly and make mistakes that can be really harmful. So
Well, that's why Elion is there to help us navigate through.
hopefully.
This is a perfect segue into my favorite part of this segment, which is future facing. We're going to be doing a fun speed round with you. First of all, I want to know, looking into the future, what will Elion's newsletter look like in, say, 3 years from now, in your opinion?
Oh my gosh, 3 years from now. As you know, when you're at a startup, 3 years is a lifetime. I hope we've broadened out what we do. I mean, I think we cover a certain segment today. I think there's a lot more that we could cover. I think, too, we're excited about, so many things are subjective in our world, right? So I think we're excited about bringing more evidence-driven elements that help people think about how different solutions perform when you put them head to head. And we're excited to keep elevating the voices of the people affected by all this. A key part of our newsletter each week is an interview with an executive from a health system. We get a lot of feedback on the newsletter, and I think it's one of the things people like best. We're excited to keep surfacing more perspectives and more diverse perspectives. But yeah, that's my off-the-cuff answer.
I'll be a loyal newsletter recipient and member, of course. What's one trend you have your eye on that you expect to see a lot more of in this newsletter in 3 to 5 years from now? Something that's kind of a seed at the moment, but you'd believe in moving forward.
Oof, good question. I think I would come back to how these solutions move further into clinical care. We're still just scratching the surface there. And I think that's going to move faster than anyone necessarily expects. I very strongly believe humans should be in the loop on all this. And I don't think that's going to change. But I do think some of these technologies will start playing a bigger role sooner rather than later. And I'm excited to see how that develops.
Okay, so this leads us to our speed round. Place your bets. Bobby places his bets on the future of digital health. So you're going to, if you think each term you're bullish on or bearish. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Bullish or bearish? Telehealth.
I'm bullish.
Tell us more.
I think especially with a lot of the other types of technology that's enabling care in the home and other locations, I just think we're going to be able to do more and more remotely. It's telehealth plus effectively. And I'm excited to see that, especially with more continuous monitoring of people's health. I think more is going to be able to be done remotely as well. So it might not look exactly like today's telehealth, but I think other kind of sites of care will continue to be a bigger and bigger thing.
Okay, moving on to wearables.
Well, I kind of just answered that a little bit. So yeah, I think we still have a ways to go. I just read the latest New York Times review of the Aura Ring this morning, which is a little bit of a pan. Judging by the latest tech reviews, there's still some ways to go, but I'm bullish on wearables over time.
And I think I know your answer to this, but remote patient monitoring.
Yeah, I think we're hitting on a string. I think we're still in the relatively early innings of this, and it will continue. I mean, people want care. People don't want to be in a hospital, right? They want to be at home. They want to be with their loved ones. So if we can deliver the technology that enables that, I only think that's going to grow.
I do want to know, after, just to finish off this speed round, is there a trend that's very hot right now, but will not be soon? So hot or not, it's hot now, it will not be soon, in your opinion.
Oh man, that's a good question. I'm pulling up Elion. I got to look at our platform and see. I think this kind of answers it. I think revenue cycle management has to change drastically. It's so crazy how it works, how inefficient it is, how difficult it is to even get basic information around, are people eligible for care, what their benefits cover, your lack of knowledge around what you're likely to pay, all the crazy rules that payers throw in that aren't transparent to the providers that ultimately wind up with denials. I think there's a lot of trends around, and for good reasons in the short term. I think there's so much of a need for improvement in revenue cycle technology. And so I know and understand why people are investing in it, and I support it. If you start to look more medium to long term, it feels like an area that needs to be totally revamped. I think there have been a number of folks who have been writing recently on is value-based care a little bit overplayed. And I think maybe overplayed is the wrong word, but it's incredible. Value-based care is a very good idea, but it's very challenging in practice. And so I think continuing to see iteration there, I don't think that shift is necessarily going to happen as fast as some people have forecasted. And we're already, 15, 20 years into it. So it's not like it's already been happening that fast anyways.
I've seen a lot of eyes roll around revenue, all that whole, everything that you were just saying, a lot of eyes rolling around that, of just frustration around it. So things definitely need to improve. We're moving on to getting to know you personally. Just to end off on a personal note, I always love to ask my guests. So I'm a music lover, specifically Pink Floyd. So I have to ask,
amazing.
What's your favorite band? And if you could choose any city to watch them live, where would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's funny because actually there's a band that immediately came to mind. I don't know if they're actually my true favorite, but it was like a very moment in time band for me. You know the band Phoenix? They were very big around the late 2000s, early 2010s. They're a French band. And so it's very kind of like emo pop music. Seeing Phoenix in Paris would be, I think, a pretty incredible experience.
Awesome. Okay. Paris. Yes. Mine would be Pink Floyd in Amsterdam for
Mm-hmm.
all the obvious. Amazing. What events in healthcare are you planning to attend this year? Cuba Hyro will be at many events coming up, especially I'm also leading our events. So I kind of know the vibes, the hymns, but beyond that, what events are you seeing as must attend?
Yeah. I mean, we were just at the Becker's event a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. We'll be at Health next week. We'll certainly be at Vive and Hymns in the spring. We'll probably be at the other Becker's event then. I'm still trying to figure out what other events we should sprinkle into our calendar, but I think we'll be at all the big healthcare IT events for sure.
You have Q1 and Q2 figured out for sure. You'll definitely be invited to our VIP Honky Tonk in Nashville. We had it 2 years ago when it was at Nashville. They're back in Nashville now. We have a whole exclusive VIP event with rodeo and the live bands. You'll be on the door list for sure. To finish us off, Bobby, I know you have a busy day ahead. So this podcast is called Patient Journey Pioneers. What does being a patient journey pioneer mean to you?
Good question. To me, it's really about how do you keep improving the patient journey at every single step of the way. There's so many places where it can go wrong, where it can be disjointed. So to me, it's really around how you build solutions that make that as continuous, as seamless, as responsive as possible. I'm excited about what you guys are doing, what certainly, a lot of other folks in the industry are doing to improve that, because we all know it needs a lot of improvement.
Thank you for personally and professionally being a patient journey pioneer. Elion is really on the forefront of providing that and paving the way to digital innovation for patients to get better access, and enlightening all the CIOs on knowing which vendors to choose and how to choose them. Thank you for being that. Thanks for your time today. We hope to see you at the event.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Patient Journey Pioneers, brought to you by Hyro.
subscribe to our podcast on your favorite listening platform. See you on our next episode.